Welcome to this video of Excel Bart. Today we are going to solve the question: how many days per month is somebody sick? We have a table here of sick leave. People can report ill and people report better, and then we can calculate the sick days. Now, since this is a table, you can see this in table design, that this table has a table name and it's formatted as a table, and you have the ribbon table design here, so it is a table. Now, we can calculate the sick days, the numbers of days between the date out and the date in, plus 1. So this is a kind of calculation that the 20, the 21 and the 22 are reported as ill. Now, what we want to calculate the number of days somebody is ill in a specific month. Now, if we look at Bart, this is no problem because he's only ill in February. But if we look at John, he's 13 days ill. He has 8 days in February and 5 days in March. And I also made a calculation about how if it is weekend days or working days. Suppose the company is only interested if it is working days, then we say no weekend, and then we see that 53 days are just working days. And if we are interested in how many days is somebody ill in the weekend, it's in total 23. So how to calculate it? Well, let's make a pivot table of it and see if Excel can calculate this. And let's use the new functionality in Excel called ideas. I put the cursor into the table so Excel knows that this is my data set. Now, sick days per name, that is correct. And 3, 13, 5, 7, 4, that's are the numbers you see here. So that is good, but that we are not interested in those numbers. We are interested in the number of sick days per month. So let's ask this question, and then we ask the question sick days per month. Now let's see if Excel can figure this out, and he gives a result actually. In February and in April, those are only the dates of dates in. But the result is wrong because in April I have more days sick than those 4. Also those 15 of Peter who started in February. So this is not okay. Now, how did I solve this? I give you a few minutes, stop the video and try to figure out, and I will come back to you very soon. Alright, you're back. Did you figure out? Well, how did I do it? I did this solution with Power Query, and I show you the following. I first needed some months to it, so let's open those months here. I have them here. Let's open them. Column C, column B, and column A. Now, what I wanted first is a table where I put all the dates in it. And here, now let's clean it up a bit. So I have a date and I wanted to know if it is weekend. My first try was to find out what's the minimum date and the maximum date of this table, and then have an overview of all the possible dates from the beginning till the end. And therefore I wanted to use the sequence function equals sequence, and how many rows there are, well, it is the first date, the last date minus the first date. So I click here the last date minus the first date here, plus 1, because we need just one. How many columns do we need? We need 1 column. What's the start position? Well, the start position is the first date, of course. And what is the step? 1. Some of those parts are optional, but I like to fill them in all so the user knows what I'm doing. And I click on enter, and I see here a list, the so-called new array functions, where the function only lives in the first cell and not below. And you see if you go below, the last day is the 19th of April. Now, is it a weekend? Equals if bracket open weekday. Now returns a number from 1 to 7. We choose this number here, is it a weekday, and then we choose, if we choose number 2, Monday to Sunday, then that means the 6 and the 7 is a weekend. Yeah, so we choose system 2, bracket close, and if this value is larger or equal to 6, then we type in weekend, and otherwise we type in working days. Alright, bracket closed, the last bracket is black, so it's the end of the function, and we press enter. Now we only see one formula, but if we refer with a hashtag to the cell A2, then this formula also spills down until the end. The problem is actually that I needed a table to put it in Power Query, and this doesn't work. So what happens here, if I click on insert a table, then this doesn't work. Maybe I go to A to B, and I also want that this table has headers, and then I get an error. So this will not be possible. I cannot make a table out of it, so this stops here. So I cannot make tables of it. Now, what do I have to do? I have to make a date of it, and then copy this down. But I'm going to do this a bit different here. Now I have to do this manually. I could do maybe this with a formula, but I want to do it a bit different. So the last day is the 19th of April. Now how do I calculate it? I took the maximum of the table sick leave. So I take the table sick leave and therefore the maximum value. So the first date I type it in, and that is the 20th of February, the first date. I don't want that. Stop automatically calculated columns. And now I'm going to add something. So I click on home and then on fill series. The series are in the row. It's a date, and the step value is 1, and the stop value is the 19th of 04/2021. Okay, click on it and it will be done. And down, I did already format this as a table, so this table is a bit smaller here now. Okay, and is this a weekend? Well, I can use this formula here. I can copy it, paste, and of course I don't want this pound sign anymore. And then I can copy this down. So some days are weekend and some days are working days. All right, we made a table, and now all right, let's put this into action. Put the cursor into the table. The table is called all dates, and we click on data from table/range, the same you do with the other table. Now it goes to Power Query, and I did already make some tables. So this is all dates 2. And you can see here that there was already an all dates, so this is the second one, and that's why there is a 2 behind it, so it's the second one. Now, the thing that we do is that we format the column header, so now there's also the time in it. We don't want it, we just want it to be a date, and that's all we do. We change the type here, and we can use this dates table. Now, the same way we do then with the sick leave. I will show you what I did in the steps. I'm going to show you what I did and not going to do it live. So what do we see here is the following. We see here the disabled sick leave. So in the current workbook we had a table and we downloaded. So these are the names, the dates in, the days out, and the sick days in it. Now we changed a type. We have a date. Okay, we add a custom column in it, and what I did here was I added the table all dates to it. Now, how do we do it? You click on insert, add column, and then a custom column. And if I click on the gear icon here, you can see what I filled in there. Now, the new column name was date, and the function I typed in was all dates between curly bracket, and all dates refers to this table. Now, what happens then is that we have some kind of an all join in it. So this list here will be added to every record, and this is a table. And what is the table? All dates from the beginning till the end of these dates. Now, if we expand this date, we can see that this is a table, and we can see that it starts from the 2nd of February and it ends all the way down to 19th of April. And we are going to expand it one more time, and now we have a very large table with all the names in it, and it is multiplied with all the dates ever available. What that means is that we have a very large list here. Only the first 1000 rows are visible, and this is called a cross joint. And we don't need all the records, of course. We only need the records where the current date, so the date number 1, is between the date in and the date out. Now we first changes some types in it here, and then we inserted a month name. We just select a date, and then if you click on add column, you can click on date, and then you can select the month, and you can select the month number, or you select the name of the month. This is very easy, and Excel will make a function of it, date, month, name. Alright, then we added another column, and this is a function, and I will click on the gear item what function that was, and that was the following function: is somebody sick? Should we leave it? If date in is less than the date and date out is larger than the date 1, then say yes, else say no. So in the opposite of Excel, you don't have to use those brackets. You can type it in, and you have to use here a custom column. Okay, click OK. Then we filtered the rows. Now, so we have, is somebody sick in this date, yes or no? And we only need the records if somebody is sick. So we filter it. Now you can see what I did here. I filtered only if it is a yes. So if the sick column equals a yes. So now I have a list of every person here, and only the days when he or she is ill are available now, and I also can see if this is a weekend or a working days. Now I saved, closed and loaded this to my workbook. I don't need this, so I can say close and load to only a connection. Alright, now let's see what I have all the time. I have made the sick leave number 2. Right mouse button, and I loaded this to a pivot table report. And if you do this, then you can make a pivot table. All right, now if you do that, you can switch here between the pivot table and the thing. First you have to put the cursor in it, and then you can switch to the pivot table or to the source data where the data comes from. All right, I will leave this now, and now you can see here that I filled in the name in rows. I filled in the date to the rows again, so I had the month name. Sorry, no, I only had the month name, and then I just used sick, yes or no, and they just counted in it. And this is my final result. As a slicer, I used then the weekends, so you can see here the weekend, right mouse button, add as a slicer, and I did this. And now I can see now, is it a weekend or is it just the working days? I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, try to make this by yourself.